Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning, and today we've got another new shell that we have not tested on the channel yet, and it should be a pretty impressive performer, so I've definitely got some high hopes for the pattern we're going to get today. But as for that shell, I brought out some more of the Kinetic Gunwerks loads, but these ones are their 20 gauge, 3-inch, 1 5/8 ounce payload of TSS 9s, moving about 1100 feet per second. We've tested the Kinetic shells in pretty much every other gauge so far, 12, 28, 410, and they've all shown us some pretty solid looking results, but we haven't tried the 20 gauge ones yet, so we'll see what they can give us today. But as for the setup we're going to run those through, I brought out my Stevens 301 20 gauge. It has a 26-inch barrel on it, and for the choke, I put in the Carlson's Longbeard XR 568 constriction turkey choke. This choke has generally been kind of the very solid middle of the road starting point for a lot of 20 gauge stuff. We've seen a number of really nice performances with it, and it's not overly tight or too open as far as constriction goes, so I figured this will probably be a good place for us to start with these Kinetic shells, and we can move up or down from here based on what we see. So we'll see what it can give us. But as for today's test, everything is set up the same as usual. I've got the turkey target at 40 yards and the chronograph so we can get our velocities out of the shell. So let's get you guys to view that target and see what the 20 gauge Kinetic shells can give us today. Alright, so that shell gave us 1123 through the chronograph. The boss claim is 1100. So from that 26-inch barrel, we were just a hair over their claim. So I'd say we're exactly where we should be for them. So looking good for a velocity. But let's head down to our 40-yard target and see what kind of a pattern that combo gave us. Alright, so now we're down here at our 40-yard target, and I gotta say, that is just absolute devastation right there. That is a nasty looking pattern. And thanks Birchwood Casey, your target did absolutely nothing to actually show us what our pattern looked like, so I had to go through with the paint marker and mark out all of those pellets there, and as you can see, pretty much the entire shell's worth is on that turkey paper. There isn't really much around the edges. We might have been just a touch high, but still, I don't know that that bird is really going to have much of a head left even out at 40 yards. That is a super hot core there. You can see the 10-inch circle on the center of that turkey paper. If we move that up just a little bit, I mean easily 80+% of your load is within a 10-inch circle at 40 yards. So yeah, that's nasty. I mean, there's gotta be 30 pellets right through the brain and the top of the neck area right there. So yeah, that is nothing short of completely devastating. Around the edges, we really don't get a ton of leeway to work with. We have a couple of flyers over here on the right and a couple of pellets that surround the top edges of the turkey paper here, maybe another flyer or two up there, but there's absolutely nothing down there at the bottom to work with. So what you see there is the entire pattern. So yeah, that might be on the edge of being too tight for some people. I like that pattern obviously, but I would hate to see what it looks like at 20 or 25 yards. You are gonna be shooting a baseball at them at that kind of range. So this seems to be a 35+ yard type of pattern. If you hunt a lot of fields with the 20 gauge, that combo right there is gonna do you just fine. If you're gonna be taking a 40 or 45 or 50 yard shot, I think that combo would be an excellent choice for you. So yeah, super hot core. Now around the edges of the core, just outside of that 10-inch circle, if we want to really get nitpicky with it, there are a couple of smaller voids around there, but again, that is on the far, very outskirt edges of the pattern, like up here at the top edge of that turkey paper, because you just can't argue with that kind of a pattern. If you're somebody that likes your patterns super hot and super tight, then I have a feeling you're going to like that pattern. But I know there's also people on the flip side that are going to think that's too tight, and I'd say I'm somewhere in the middle. I wouldn't hesitate to turkey hunt with that pattern at all, but I would probably want to keep my distance a little bit on those turkeys, because that would be a pretty easy missed shot if a bird came in real close at an awkward angle or something like that. So yeah, I don't think there's much more I can say about that. You just can't complain about that kind of a result. And for a starting point with these Kinetic shells in a very middle of the road choke that we know is a good performer in that Longbeard 568, for a starting point, that is nothing short of impressive. So I don't know. Do we go tighter? Do we go more open? I think it's worth checking out what both options do, but we really don't need it any tighter than that. So yeah, definitely super impressive today, no doubt about it. And here's the wad from that shell. Very standard 20 gauge looking equipment here. Nothing fancy about it at all. It's got no major damage or anything to it, so nothing out of the ordinary to see here. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that pattern right there? That is just completely nasty out at 40 yards. From a 20 gauge, you're going to absolutely hammer them with that kind of performance. Anywhere closer than that, and they might legitimately not have a head left. So yeah, that is a 40, 45, 50 yard type of pattern there. I expected to see some good performance from those kinetic shells, but I don't know that it can really get a whole lot better than that. That's a tight pattern. It's got a super hot core with just a couple of flyers around the edges. I wouldn't hesitate to turkey hunt with that pattern, but that might be on the verge of too tight for some people, especially if you're going to be hunting at a little bit closer of a range, because that looks like a straight up field load type of combination. But let me know your thoughts about it down in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Were you a little surprised one way or the other? Have you tested any of these Kinetic 20 gauge shells? And if so, what kind of results have you seen from them? Would you hunt with that pattern, or is it too tight for you? And what other chokes do you want to see us run those Kinetic 20 gauge shells through? Do you want to see tighter? Do you want to see more open? You want to see both? Let me know all your thoughts down below. At the end of the day, I think it pretty well speaks for itself. There's nothing I haven't already said about it that you can't infer just by looking at that pattern right there. So yeah, pretty devastating. And I'd say those Kinetic 20 gauge shells are some pretty good looking performers so far, because this is just the initial test for them. So it seems like we got a pretty good shell here. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to get done for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested in it, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.